I request the participants to mute your mics so that we don't get distracted or disturbed. Okay. So we'll be today discussing on the questionnaire preparations. Few tips here will be mentioned about how do's and don'ts, and what are the types of questions you can use in questionnaire, uh, and what is the difference between the schedule and the questionnaire. And at the end of the session, we'll also have some 2 3 practical examples of the participants objectives of their phd or a research program, and then we'll follow with the questionnaire formulations. Okay, the questionnaire is a structured set of questions, usually, sometimes, usually sent by mail. Actually, it was earlier. It was a list of questions which used to be sent through mail, but later people started using this as a document, in which they usually collect the respondents of the part, samples, responses of the samples, and it is always said that a questionnaire will always be along with a covering letter. But now, smartly, people, what they are doing, they are just giving one paragraph of introduction about the questionnaire, and then they are forwarding it to the respondents. So when is the requirement of using a questionnaire? Usually, whenever you have your sample size, which is a large number, and you cannot spend a lot of time with them. In such cases, you usually prepare a questionnaire and use it as a tool for data collection. When you want to keep the costs low, in fact, earlier there was an option when we used to take a print. When I did my doctoral program, it was like, I took the print of it, and I had to reach the respondents. But now, thanks to technology, people have started using WhatsApp, emails, and many other electronic ways of circulating a questionnaire. And however, one risk here, when you are sending a questionnaire through any digital media, is you have chances of collecting the responses from the wrong samples. I have seen a lot of questionnaires which have been circulated through the Google Forms on the WhatsApp groups. Most of the time, it is irrelevant, and just because someone has sent the link, you tend to give responses. I have seen a lot of non-relevant questions which have come. So that is one risk when you are sending it across the online media, or when you are using it on the social media. But all said and done, the questionnaire use of a questionnaire will always keep your costs down, costs low. Um, Very ease of administration when you are circulating a questionnaire, and the response rate usually with the questionnaire is considered satisfactory. Some criterias of questionnaires is, you can have a topic of one topic or several topic connected in the questionnaires. You can have your questionnaires running to 4 to 5 pages, or maximum of 9 to 10 pages. But then, dependent on the requirements of the research program, I have also seen questionnaires which are running for 20 pages. But I personally don't feel such a big questionnaire usually is effective. I personally don't feel. Uh, it targets the specific people and type of response required, closed and open ended, or you can also have combinations of these two types of questions usually. Now, coming to these two types of question, you have an open ended question wherein there is an option for the respondent to give elaborated answer, and when it's closed ended question, it would be like, for an example, do you like tea? So when this question is asked, you will always have an options, yes or no, maybe. I mean, that one single word answers will be there. So that is a closed ended question. And open ended questions are, which week of, though it is a single word answer, but the question would go like, which week of a day, sorry, which day of a week you would like to watch a movie. That is an open ended question. I'm using very simple questions because, looking at the profiles of the respondents, we have respondents from various categories and faculty. So I am using very simple questions, sorry, simple examples for everyone's understanding. A few tips of questionnaire, preparation of questionnaire. Directions regarding the filling of the questionnaire should be given at the top. If you want them to tick the appropriate answer, you should mention to tick it. If you want them to, what you say, if you want them to be directly solving from 1 to 20, that also you can mention. But there are few questions, which will be marked, which will be negative marking kind of, like, say for example, any of your questions, when you rate them from 1 to 5, 5 will be usually, for the respondents, 5 will be a bigger number, and usually it is a positive number. But in case if you have put it 5 as a negative number in your measurements, then you need to be little clear when you want them to understand that, because else there will be a sampling error which will be found. Your questionnaire should always be very short and simple. You should always follow a sequence of questions from the easier ones to the difficult ones. Usually, in a questionnaire, we always have the first set of questions will be the demographic questions. Demographic questions will be like name, age, income, gender, uh, experience, all that. And then follows the questions based on your requirements. Then usually it is very much required for questionnaire development. Your question should have more technical terms. Yeah, there was some disturbance behind, so I had to mute all participants. Coming back, usually it is advised that you should always have very simple terms for everyone's understanding. Avoid the technical terms. Should always provide the adequate space for answers in your questionnaire. Sometimes, if you do not give adequate space, people start writing, and you will their writing will not be legitimate. So please do give an options of giving enough space for them to answer or to write their answers. The quality of the paper and the color of the paper is also very much required. Very much taken into consideration, because your physical appearance of your questionnaire also makes a lot of difference. Say for example, if your questionnaire, uh, if they are not able to read your questions because of too much of colors and other things, probably that also may lead for the error. And the sequence must be very clear. Avoid abbreviations, avoid negative questions, avoid biased terms, and the you should always frame your questionnaire in such a way that you should be knowing the competency of the respondents. And example is, sometimes what happen if you have too much hi-fi questions added, or too high English, when you add in your questionnaire, and you are collecting data from maybe a just a 10th passed out, or a higher primary school passed out candidate, who may not be that fluent in English, or who may not be that good at language, then your whole questionnaire, collection of data is an error. So you should always set your questionnaire, prepare your questionnaire in such a way that you should be understanding the competencies of the respondents. There may be a question also arised, that unless we go to the respondents, how will we come to know the competency of the respondents? The competency will be framed in your sampling design. These are the steps for effective questionnaire preparation. Prepare the questionnaire, formulate, choose the type of questions, order them, write the instructions wherever you want the instructions to be given. Because sometimes what happens is you want few questions to be ticked, uh, and sometimes you want them to be elaboratively answered. So please give the instruction wherever it is required. And select your respondents, administer your questionnaire, and whenever you are administering the questionnaire, always you will have to keep, you will have to make a note of two things here. One, always mention the date, time, and venue when the respondent has answered your questionnaire. One. Second, also do not forget to number the respondent. Like, say for example, I give you a questionnaire, I give X person one questionnaire, he may be the 150th respondent to me. So when you collect back the questionnaire to him, or when you give your questionnaire to him, please do not forget to mention that number of the respondent. That will help you during your tabulation process also. So once you collect your data, then tabulate the data and analyze the data, interpret as the analysis is done and also required. Sound questionnaire should always focus on three important areas. That is, first is the words which you are using. The second one is on the variables which you want to categorize, scale, and code. And the third one would always be on the appearance of the questionnaire. These are few kind of questions. As I said, earlier, there will be two types of questions which will be used in the questionnaire. One is an open-ended question, and the other one is the closed-ended question. Uh, in again, especially when it comes to the open-ended questions, you have a lot of classifications of the questions which can be asked. Like, say for example, the ambiguous questions. Uh, these set of questions are the one which will create confusions. So you should always avoid this kind of questions. Like, say for example, to what extent would you say you're happy? Now you cannot measure happiness, though you mention them in terms of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, very happy, not happy, or anything like that. But still, this will lead for confusion. So avoid such kind of questions. When you're asking questions, be very clear when you're asking these questions. Now there are also these double-barreled questions. Example, do you think there is a good market for the produce, and do you think the product will be sold well? Say for example, if there is no market, then if there is no market, still there are chances of your product being sold well sometimes. So such questions will always have two different meanings, and uh, in such cases, what you can do is you can make this as two questions rather than mixing this two different parts in the same question. So we such kind of questions we usually call it as a double barrel question. And always, look at if you can ask for leading questions like this. Do you think that in these days of increasing cost of living, workers should have been given good pay raises? So if you do not want them to directly ask, you don't want to ask them directly uh, whether the salary is to be increased, you can just, ask it the other way. Now, these are the advantages and disadvantages of the questionnaire. Questionnaire is always a low cost one, uh, free from the interviewer's bias. Respondents will always have adequate time to, think and answer, especially when you send it through electronic media. And though respondents are not approachable, easily approachable, but still you can reach them conveniently whenever you need. And one of the greatest advantage of having a questionnaire is you can reach to the large samples, and you can also collect data from these large samples. The disadvantages is it is time consuming. You can also have an option of uh, this kind of data collection which can be found slow. Most of the time, what happens when you send a questionnaire, people may not respond. You'll have to persuade them, you'll have to ask them to expedite the response. So, usually it is found to be little slow. Whenever you are collecting the responses, sometimes you can also find the what you say. Um, you'll have to persuade the respondents. Sometimes they'll be like asking questions like why what is this, why should we fill it, all such kind of questions. So you'll have to always educate and be little cooperative with these respondents. And possibilities of unclear replies are also found. And sometimes say for example, if you have a lengthier question and your questions are running for around 4 to 5 pages, there are chances of they may skip some questions. So that also is a sometimes error, and that is also one of the disadvantages. Now the schedules are the set of structured questions in which answers are recorded by the interviewer. It can be used with educated and also illiterate. And most of the time schedules are like the same kind of question as what you have, but you but here the questions will be asked by the interviewer and it will be noted by the interviewer, wherein when it comes to questionnaires it will be sent or it will be given to the respondents. It can be used with a small amount of population, that is if you have very less number of respondents, then you can go with the schedules. It is very similar to the questionnaire method. The main difference is, it will be usually filled by the enumerator. That I have already communicated that. But you should always be little careful when you are selecting an enumerator. Enumerator is the person who is administering the questionnaire. You'll have to train them and train them in dealing with the respondents. You'll have to train them how to administer the questionnaire, all that. So enumerator or the interviewer should be little selected bit little carefully. These are the difference between a questionnaire and a schedule. Generally sent through the mail or through any other assistance. It is the cheaper method, affordable method. Non-response can also be high sometimes because they don't want to respond or they don't want to revert back, or they are not they do does not find it they don't find time to respond to your questionnaires if they're lengthy. uh, there are chances that you may get the wrong information or incomplete response for your questionnaire, and it depends on the quality of the questionnaire, whether the incomplete answers have come or wrong information has come. All that depends purely on the quality of the questionnaire. Wherein on the other side, schedule is usually filled by a enumerator or research worker or an interviewer. It costs because you'll have to get into field and do it on your own. This is also a little time. uh, it takes a lot of time also, because you have to be involved, or there has to be someone who has to be involved into that. And the responses is non-responsiveness from the respondents is very low compared to the questionnaire. Depends, if the enumerator is easily able to identify the behaviors of the people, then there are very less chances of getting the wrong information from the respondent. And compared to the questionnaire, you will get more correct and complete question responses from the respondents. Now I'll open this for your questionnaire preparation. One thing which you have to always remember is one thing which you always have to remember whenever you are preparing a questionnaire: each of your questions should be catering to your objectives. I repeat again, each of your questions should be related to your objectives. Okay, can we take one example of? Okay, I have something which is very easier here. This is from Vijay Lakshmi ma'am. Ma'am, can you unmute? Vijay Lakshmi ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Let only Vijay Lakshmi ma'am
Let
and me talk
only Vijay Lakshmi ma'am
so that others can hear it properly.
Ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Can hear it properly. Yes, ma'am. I'm muted, ma'am.
No, no, only Vijay Lakshmi ma'am.
Ma'am, can you able to hear me?
No, yes, ma'am.
Only Vijay Lakshmi ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Others, please mute. Okay. Vijay Lakshmi ma'am, what is your title? Only Vijay Lakshmi ma'am, unmute your mic. Rest, please listen.
Please listen.
Yeah.
Public attitude
Yeah.
in online business and offline business
Okay.
with a special reference to Sivagangai district.
Okay. So what is that you want to find in this, ma'am?
What is that you want to find in this, ma'am? Ma'am?
What is your objective?
Ma'am, once again? What is your objective? I framed just two objectives only. First of all, we have to study the consumer awareness on online as well as offline marketing in the same district.
Okay.
Then second objective is to identify the factors what are all influenced the consumer behavior at the time of purchasing of online.
Okay. Are you using any model, or you're developing a model on your own?
Are you using any model, or you're developing a model on your own? Here afterwards only we have to develop a model. This is my candidate, ma'am.
Okay.
Consumer satisfaction level towards offline marketing.
Ma'am, I think you'll have to redefine your title to the objectives, or you'll have to align your objectives.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Because what your title says, your objectives are not aligned to that. You're talking about hello. Hello. Okay. All set and done. Usually, you will have your first set of questions on the okay. Okay, now please see here. If imagine you are talking about the buying behavior of online shoppers. Are you people able to see my screen? Anyone please respond and again go back
Yes,
to
yes, ma'am.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
If this is your study, I have just mentioned it here. If this is the title. Everyone please mute your mic. Hello? Yeah. Imagine if this is your title. So what objectives will you frame here? To understand or to study the attitudes of the consumers on online shopping. Or identify the sequence of consumers buying online.
Ma'am, can I ask something?
Yes, sir, please.
Ma'am, what do you mean by buying behavior?
Okay. Buying behavior is, sir, usually in marketing, there are a lot of research done by a lot of marketers, on what is the procedure or what is the sequence, what makes them to buy a particular thing. All that comes as a part of buying behavior. Why do they purchase?
What do they select? What do they select
It's
basically?
not only what, it also talks about what, why. Why do they select
What
a
and why?
specific product?
Okay, suppose I talk of a biscuit, then why do they prefer a particular brand? That
Yes.
way?
Why do they prefer a particular brand? Why do they prefer a particular taste? Say there are biscuits, sweet biscuits, salt biscuits, Maska Chaska and all.
Mhm.
So if you buy
Okay,
Maska Chaska, what is your preference in buying that? Who influenced you to
okay,
buy
okay.
that?
Why are you buying a particular type of a biscuit?
Yes. So
Okay.
there are, in fact, I because it just you have just spoken about it. Whenever we talk about consumer behavior classes, whenever we take consumer behavior classes, I am a marketing specialization. We always have this one story which was told by one of the IIM professors that during his time he had an interaction with Philip Kotler. Philip Kotler is uh, the books written by Philip Kotler in marketing are usually considered like the Bible. Okay, so there was a discussion in one of the conferences of Philip Kotler that the whole story was like one particular day, especially for example, you take Mumbai. Mumbai is a very crowded place, and most of the people, they spend a lot of time. Sorry, they reside in these chawls. Do we have any
Okay.
people from Mumbai here, or who are very well known with these kind of situations? Yeah, usually people stay in chawls, and they commute by the local trains, and
Okay.
for everything you will have to maintain your timing. Like
Uh-huh.
I would just tell this story. So one fine morning, husband and wife were supposed to get up by 5:30 as a routine, but their alarm didn't ring, and they got up by 5:45 instead of 5:30. He can the whole day will then start 5:45. Husband goes to bathroom and he finds that there is no paste in the bathroom, the paste whatever they were using, Colgate. In fact, his ancestors, fathers, and this fellow, they also used Colgate only, and this lady, her father, ancestors, everyone used to buy Colgate only. So it is very common understanding that these people will have Colgate paste in their house. Yeah, and then followed by
Okay.
this, the paste is khali, and somehow she brings her balan and try to squeeze, do this, do that, somehow manage to get the paste for him. All said and done,
Mhm.
his brush and bath, everything is done. But though that 15 minutes means a lot for anybody, uh, so
Mhm.
the mood was off, both husband and wife's mood was off, and the husband starts shouting at wife for silly things. Somehow she prepares a dabba for him and packs, and send him. Okay, all
Mhm.
this is a part of the story. And then
Mhm.
she by 11:30 she completes the household and then goes to a mall with her neighbor. Then
Okay.
all of a sudden she remembers that ghar pe paste khatam hai and she has to take a paste. She goes there to the mall where that particular location is, where you have your toothpaste and toiletries, everything kept. She goes there and she doesn't pick Colgate, but she picks something else in cup.
Mhm.
Now, analyzing this particular reason of why she picked something else is your consumer behavior.
Okay. Okay.
Why did she buy something else? What might be the
Okay.
reason? And this conference, the same discussion in the conference happened. There were around 45 people in the conference who were sitting in that hall.
Yeah.
There were 45 people who were sitting in the hall, and each one were asked the reasons behind what was the reason why she picked something else apart from Colgate. All 56 reasons were different.
Oh, okay.
And that lady, this is a narration of a story, but that lady was also found to be there.
Okay.
And she was asked the question, the same question, why did she pick something else? Why not Colgate? Her answer was 57th.
Oh,
So we usually say that, consumer buying behaviors are always different. They always have, they have their own preferences. They have some, influences when they buy. They have a lot of changing factors. They have a lot of reactions to the strategies.
okay.
So, predicting how consumers respond is little difficult. But still,
So
all
then
said and done,
such.
there are a lot of marketing companies which are, filling their pockets. That is altogether a different story.
Okay.
So when it comes to,
Okay.
buying behavior, it is why do consumers prefer whatever they buy?
Got it.
Good example is our Horlicks, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
When we were in marketing class, they always quote this Horlicks because Horlicks brand was not advertised for hospital patients.
Yes.
But till today, the brand company or they don't know why people prefer when they go and meet any patient, why they buy Horlicks or why it has been categorized as a product that must be used for
Kids.
sick people or they are the people who use it more than the normal one. So this is also many people they were doing study and they were doing it's more of a psychological factors. So those things are also they will be talking about when they come to a consumer buying behavior
Right.
aspects.
Right. So there are a lot of things when it comes to consumer buying behavior. So just for connecting to this, I have mentioned two questions, all said and done. But usually, there is a tip which is given when you are writing a questionnaire. You should always have your questions with your first set. First set is your demographic questions. So your demographic question starts with your name, age, income, gender, experience, whether yours is a family of single earner, double earner, all that. Because the more demographics you have, the more kind of data you get. You also talk about the members in your family and all that. Only which is relevant. Yeah, so first set of questions will be your demographic questions. Second, it talks about the awareness questions, whether people are aware of the brand which you are talking about, whether people are aware about the process which you are talking about, or whether people are aware about the title which you are talking about. This is usually an optional one. Title is always an optional one. So you always have the awareness. Like say for example, if you're doing online shopping, you ask questions. Are you aware of these online shopping? If you're aware of online shopping, then what are the brands you use, or what are the methods of online buying you use. Whether you work with on Amazon, Flipkart, there is an option you give the questions to them or you need not give the question to them. Then later you can ask the questions on which product they buy. You can ask them questions on how many times they do online shopping in a month, the frequency of their buying, how much of the amount they spend on online shopping. You can also ask them questions on what do they prefer when they are buying online. So you have all those set of questions, and whenever you are buying your whenever you are preparing your questionnaires, your literature review will help you a lot to identify the set of variables. Once you define your variables, then the same thing you can reflect in your questionnaire. And then taking this question, to understand this question, you will have to, if in case you have only these two objectives, then for each question you will have to have minimum 15 questions. Minimum 15 questions. If you have 5 set of questions, then you can have, say for example, each objective asking 5 questions, which will let you know each, which will help you to understand the attitudes of the consumers. So you can ask questions on the patterns of buying. You can ask questions on what attracts them in online buying. So all such kind of questions you can ask. And the second objective, you can have again 10 to 15 questions depending, but each question should be connected to the objectives, and the sequence should also be in such a way. The first set of questions should be for the first objective, second set of question to be for the second objective. This will help you to clearly analyze your data, and this will help you to easily connect you to the hypothesis, which will lead you to justify the data which you have collected, and which will also help you to talk about each of these objectives. So this is how you prepare a questionnaire. Any questions you have?
Ma'am,
Yes, sir.
I am not from this, but it is just
I
out
do
of my
understand.
curiosity I am
You
asking.
have a lot of questions because you're a you're a technical guy. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Is this when you are doing this? Once you have done with the questionnaire, collected the data, if you want to analyze, say, suppose you have taken demographic questions. Suppose I am filling up the questionnaire on the 4th of this month and on the 26th of this month.
Yeah.
Or on the 30th of this month. Do you feel when I am talking about online shopping, will my answers get affected? Because on the 1st or 3rd or 5th of the month, I am having my salary, so my pattern of online buying may be something
That
different
all question.
as compared to.
No. If see, there will be a whenever whenever the researcher is framing his questions, he'll also check with such questions. Like say for example, when is your online buying in peak?
Okay.
Say as you said, 5th, once when you get your salary, your online buying pattern will be increased compared to the month end, right? If
Okay.
that is also a connected question to any of the objective, then this question will also come. But
And
it
this
will not
this
affect.
questionnaire will be
Yes.
in the form of answers with respect to numericals, agree, disagree, strongly agree, or will it be something like a description type?
Most of the questions will be on a Likert scale. Most of the questions. Because
Okay.
nowadays, especially when it comes to social sciences research, people doesn't want what you say. People doesn't want to
Descriptive
take
type of.
qualitative answers.
Yeah, they want quantitative only.
Because you can when you have when you do not have a homogeneous answers, you cannot have a you cannot have a proper analysis of the data.
Okay, I was about to come to that. That is the reason I'm asking. That if you look into Google search, the
Yes.
moment you start typing, after 4 or 5 times,
Hmm.
the computer or Google directly knows what you are approximately going to ask,
Correct.
and you start getting your choices.
Yes.
So can't we analyze these things according to those methodology where Google is using your own mindset to analyze things?
No, but you cannot have that mindset when you are preparing a questionnaire. And
No, not the questionnaire. When you
because
are analyzing the answers, when you are analyzing the answers.
no, when you are analyzing the answers, you will analyze only it aligned to your hypothesis or aligned only to your questionnaire. But yes, when you are
But
interpreting the data,
uh,
there you can also give some inferences after interpretation. Interpretation is you have a table. Say, for example, in your
uh-huh.
table, say your respondents are 250. Out of this 250, 200 respondents have agreed to, telling that I do all online buying more on the first week of month.
Hmm.
Right? If there is this one question out of 250, say 200 people have agreed to this.
Okay.
You can interpret what is there in the table.
Okay. Uh-huh. Got it.
Interpretation is always what is there in the table, but when it comes to inference, then
Uh-huh.
you have a broader way of telling your experience also included to that.
Okay. 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 Got it. Got it. Thank you. Thank you. And sorry for all the silly questions.
No problem, no problem. That will help others also to learn something out of it.
Maya ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am. I too also see told you about the title. I think titles only I had it in
Ma'am, your
mind,
voice is
but I'm not
breaking,
aware
ma'am.
of the title. What the like objectives, whether it is related to the connectivity with the topic, ma'am.
Your objectives
This
your objectives are
what
always
ah
your objective should always align to your title.
yes, I'll say to that, ma'am.
Ma'am, ma'am, can you type? There is some disturbance in the voice. Yes, sir. Anybody has a question?
No, ma'am.
Question, ma'am. Sorry. This is Maitri here.
Yes,
Hello.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, you were talking about administering questions, right? Some date, time, when. Can you give us a little bit elaborate about that? Because you said it is important administering your questions and number of respondents. Those two things you said during when you explained about the PPT. How it is important and which area it will be affecting, something like that.
Ma'am, administering the questionnaire will always be done in terms of schedules. We studied about questionnaires and the schedules. Two things.
Okay.
Yeah, questionnaire, usually what you do is you set the questions, you prepare your whole questionnaires with lot of questions into that, and expected answers, Likert scale or yes no, whatever is relevant to that, you prepare that, and then you send it to the respondents. Now, earlier it was like you give it to respondent, you tell them, okay, fill this question, I'll come and collect it, or you will have some time to fill this, please send it back to me, something like that. And now it is like, you just prepare it on monkeysurvey.com or googleforms.com. You send it across to the WhatsApp groups or mails or anything. This is from past maybe 2-3 years. People have started doing this. Here you will not have problems with administering the question. But when it comes to schedules is, if Maitri ma'am is doing her research, she will either go on her own or she will select someone who is very good at, handling people, very good at, talking to people, getting the work done, such kind of candidate, and who's also good at the topic which you are doing the research. You send the same questions with that particular person. Go ask to the candidate or your samples. You ask the question, you see their response, oral response and also their behavioral response. If the person is good at behavioral analysis. Else it will be like, I ask you question, whatever answer you give, I tick it and come back. This is the administering part. Ma'am, you're there? Maitri ma'am?
Yeah, understood, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You had another connected
Understood.
to this.
Sorry?
You had one more question connected to this.
No, I was asking for both because when you were talking about administering questions, you said we have to be careful about date, time, and venue. During analysis.
When you're collecting data, or say for example, you have sent your response through post. Your questionnaire you have sent through post. Not on the Google, not using any of the technology. Now Google Forms, if you send the questionnaire, whoever fills at what time, you will get that response. If you have some 60 candidates who have responded to your questionnaire, each one of their number will be mentioned. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, easily mentioned on your Excel sheet. But in case if any person is going and collecting the data, just for your reference, you will have to mention what time date they have responded. And also, if Maitri ma'am is, I have collected data from you and you are my 40th sample, I have to make a note that the questionnaire which I have collected from you is the 40th one. The response which I have collected from you is the 40th one. This will help you to tabulate the data. Ma'am, are you clear? Hope I have answered.
Yeah, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I have one more question related to this Google form, whichever you people are sending. In case if you are getting 3 response or 4 response from a same person, in case, I don't know whether you people have encountered something like that. What generally as a researcher you people will consider, but in all the 4 you have few questions with the different answers by the same person, and when
First
we are doing
first you will look at which of that response. Say a candidate has given 3 response on 3 different dates. First we'll look at which of this question, which of the response given by the candidate or a respondent has all the answers to all the questions.
Okay.
That is one. In case if there are half answers, or if there are contradictory answers, the respondent has given all 40 questions of yours, he has filled all 40 questions, but the answers are contradictory. In that case, you call them, you clarify. There are 3 set of answers which
Okay.
we have received. Which one is right, which one is wrong? Because in Google form,
Okay.
usually there is a email ID or a phone number which will be collected.
Yes. Okay.
One. And if you do not have their mail ID, you have, if they have not responded, though you have your mail ID or phone number, they have not responded to you, you will wait for a specific time and then randomly delete the other 2.
Okay, ma'am.
Worst case.
Okay. Yeah, understood.
Hmm. Any other questions?
Ma'am, I have a last question.
No problem, ma'am. You can have many more questions.
No, actually, I don't know whether in the same research seminar or I've been attending few more. There were certain tips were given when framing a questionnaire. Like they suggested not to have a questions like yes, no, just having the participant to tick whether to yes or no, something like that. Can you give some tips or some questions,
Ma'am, you
framing a
cannot
question
have
which
all
we
your
should avoid?
questions on yes or no.
Okay.
You cannot
No,
have all
something
your
like
questions.
this should be avoided for for analysis purpose. These kind of questions must be avoided. After you people are writing so many research papers and so many PhDs are there, hence I thought I can get some input from you all.
Okay, no, it's just that you cannot have all your questions with yes or no. Say, for example, we were talking about online buying. Example, we were talking, right, on online buying. Now, in case randomly I have sent the questionnaire on a Google form and I have passed it across to my WhatsApp group, all my WhatsApp group, and my questionnaire reached Maitri ma'am. Maitri ma'am is not an online buyer. If I still collect Maitri ma'am's response, will that not be a sample error?
Yeah.
In such case, my
Because
first
I'm not
question.
going to get there.
In such case, my first question will be: are you an online buyer or not? So
Okay.
when I frame the question, my question will be yes or no only. And
Okay.
and when it is yes or no, if Maitri ma'am responds no, then immediately I'll have to give an instruction there. If you are not an online buyer, please abort giving responses.
Okay. Or in case if we are going to, for the same objective, whichever you said, in case if you are going to ask them, if you are saying no, can you tell the reason? And if you are listing out some 5 reasons, can that be considered for our questionnaire, or will it be deviating from your objective kind of?
No. You can also consider that question, but in the inference, in the findings, you can mention that people who are not using the online buying, they have given these so many reasons for not doing. But in that, out of 5 reasons, most of the reasons will be similar.
Okay.
So for example, out of maybe some 100 responses which you have collected, out of that some 25 have responded that they are not online buyers, and out of all these 25 buyers, one common answer is there. Reason that they have the threat of using their account details, something like that, some monetary theft. If they have that fear and they have mentioned that fear, then in your finding you can mention that though the respondents, people who are not online buyers, they have mentioned that these are the threats. This is a common threat for which they are not preferring the online buying.
Okay,
One
ma'am.
statement
Okay.
you can give.
Ma'am, can the frequency of buying be a question
Just
also?
a minute, Lalit sir, just a minute. I have not completed. So further, what you can do is, these data which you have collected, you can give this as a scope for further research for somebody else. Yes, sir. Lalit sir, you asked the question.
Madam, as you said yes or no for online buying,
Hmm.
can we have instead of that, instead of even with yes, we can have as to the frequency of online buying, so that we come to know how frequently are they using the
No,
online
however, we'll
purchasing.
have that question. However, we will have that
Acha, you
question
have.
to understand their buying frequency. Because we'll have to,
Okay.
later we'll find out. I'm just connecting here because unless we have a right questionnaire and right objective, we cannot talk anything. We cannot deviate out of that. Now, what query you asked is, if you can also have a question asking about how much is the frequency of a buyer, maximum to maximum, how
Yes.
much time he may, any person buys online.
Maybe once a week.
Maximum in a month, 30
Yeah, maximum.
30 time maximum.
Yes.
Now, how much frequency will you give there? 1 to 10, 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, something like this. You
Yeah.
will give a frequency.
Yes.
What we do is, at the analysis time, we'll try to find out the behavior. The people who are more frequently doing online shopping are happy with the marketing strategies, or the people who are doing less frequently buying online are happy with the marketing strategies. This becomes a hypothesis for
Okay.
you.
Okay. Okay. And just for information, I don't know whether how many of you know, but there is in Bangalore IEEE session,
Hmm.
and they have something which is known as big data analysis.
Hmm.
When data which is not very which cannot be very easily correlated. So
Hmm.
how do you analyze such data on a
Hmm.
very big platform?
Hmm.
So those who are in social sciences can use that big data platform because they are very good. They have very good journals with that, and you have very good marketing section also that, and management also under IEEE.
Hmm.
It is International Electrical and Electronics Engineering Society, but they are into marketing and management also,
Hmm. 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 But as
and
for
they have
I
a very
know,
good.
big data analysis is what you say, the one which helps you to analyze the frequencies of, say, for consumer buying behaviors. It is just that, a person how many times, not a person, for a company how many times, people have bought, what errors they have found. Or simple example I would give is, if I'm working for a foreign client, if my company is working for a foreign client of say 2000 employees, and on click of a button, I want all these 2000 employees salary to be calculated.
Mhm.
That is a big data.
Yeah, but they have a lot of other
Yeah,
features in that.
there are a lot of
In
verticals on big data.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
know.
Yes. Yes.
If you have any link on that, you can please share it in the group. Probably, people
Yeah.
will
Sure.
get.
Sure.
But the big
Because
data
I
will
I
not.
just yesterday attended a session with IEEE Bangalore
Hmm.
in the
But
morning.
big data will not help you
That was
for
for.
your data analysis here, because your data, sir,
No, they have something which is known as
none of the research
artificial
data, what I
intelligence.
know, will have crossed
Hmm.
1000.
Yeah.
And 1000 and all will be managed over SPSS, or R programming or anything of that sort. So you need not go
Yes.
for
Yes.
big
Yes. Yes.
data.
For sure. Yeah. For sure.
Hmm. But however, out of interest, people can any given point of time, explore.
Yeah.
We are planning to have a R, data analysis with R. We have a plan. If lockdown doesn't open, or if it extends, then we have a plan of doing R analysis.
Our language or our software?
R software.
Our software. Okay. Okay.
That is like one SPSS what we have. for analysis
Okay, okay.
like that.
If it extends, can we have something on SPSS?
SPSS we can have, but I just have to check with the resource person. I am not good at analysis.
Okay,
I'll have
okay,
to check.
okay.
Let us see
Or if
what
you have,
option is
if you
available.
know anyone who can guide me through with what book or something of that sort,
Sorry?
any book or someone who can guide me with the literature for SPSS.
Sir, SPSS, you have the tutorials online, no? The crack versions are available. You
Yeah, I
have,
got the cracked version,
and you'll have a
but I'm not
tutorial
getting any
there.
book on the website only.
Huh?
Okay, I'll just check that. I'll just check that. I'll just check that. Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? Okay, tomorrow we'll have the data analysis by Professor Sriram sir, and followed by that I'll have the report writing and then academic writing. On the last day, we'll have data analysis by SPSS. What I'll ask the resource person is to get some data on his own, and he can use the same data and show you how to analyze that data. And further, if people are interested, we can think of having the SPSS workshop if at all the lockdown opens. Let us see. Any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. If you have any questions, you can post it on the WhatsApp group. We'll see. And Vijayalakshmi ma'am, your voice was little breaking. You can drop your message on WhatsApp. I'll get back to you on WhatsApp. Thank you so much for your patience listening.
Thank you, ma'am.
We'll meet up tomorrow.
Thank you personally.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you.